Yeah. Okay. So, if you ever felt frustrated because your pup just isn't getting it, or you're wondering why your training session seems to be going nowhere, you're in the right place. Let's jump into 3 essential tips that will help you train your dog effectively and make sure that it's way less stressful. But most importantly, for a dog trainer like myself, I want to make sure that those behaviors last for a lifetime. One of the things that we don't talk about as much is making sure that your training sticks. And their manners stick, especially for the puppies that are young. There's so many different changes of development that they go through, and it does changes their behavior. But once you start the training, you want to make sure that that training is going to last a lifetime. So let's jump right into it. Tip number one, you want to be sure to establish a routine. I get it. Life can get busy and sometimes it feels impossible to find the time to train, but dogs are creatures of habit and routines make them feel safe and secure. I always talk to my families and I tell them, even if you never hired a dog trainer a day in your life, but you kept on doing the same routine over and over again, your dog would pretty much learn how to behave for the most part. Not everything, but for the most part. So when you have a set schedule for feeding, walking, and playtime, your dog will start to anticipate that, but also the training session. So try to incorporate training into your routine. This will cause less confusion, less anxiety for your pup, and it's going to make you a little bit more stress free. So, when you carve out the specific times for training each day, you just want to do 10 or 15 minutes. I know as a dog trainer, when I come, usually the sessions can last like 45 minutes to an hour, but they definitely don't need that much for practicing. Just 10 or 15 minutes in the morning or evening can make a big difference and make a big difference in their behavior. So maybe right after breakfast or just right after dinner, but definitely finding a time where you're not stressed and maybe it's a little bit more calmer, especially when you have kids or just busy at work. You just want to make sure that you're going to have time to focus. Tip number two. This can be a game changer for new dog owners, but definitely a game changer for any dog owner in my eyes. Keep it simple. When you're teaching your dog something new, stick to the same word. If you keep switching between sit and down for the same command, your dog will get confused. Pick one word and you want to stick to it. To add on to that, start repeating the behaviors over and over again. The one thing I hear, come, 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 come. If you repeat it over again, they're not going to listen, but definitely keep it simple. That's all. If you want to make sure that your dog, comes in an emergency or comes quickly, choose a unique command. Make sure the commands that you choose are easy to say and different from the words you often use. For example, instead of saying come, say here or front. This will help avoid confusion. So that's one of the things you want to do as well. Your dog also pays attention to your body language and tone of voice. So use the same gestures in a cheerful tone every time you use a command. This can help them understand what you want and create a positive atmosphere. So body language is going to be very important. I talk about that all the time, especially on walks, but we'll get into that. That's another topic. Let me get my ADD back. Okay. Also, another thing you want to do is get your family on board. If you live with others, you want to make sure that everyone is using the same command, even if you write it down in a meaningful in a way where everyone will understand, and put it in the area where everyone can see it. I know when I'm working with my families, I have a command list and I write down the commands, and then next to it I write down what is it that the family uses for that command. What word are they using? I don't want to go in there and start switching things up, but you definitely want to make sure that everyone across the board in the family is on the same page. The other thing you want to do is try practicing commands in various environments like the backyard, the park, or even the house. This helps your dog learn to listen no matter where they are. And I always say when I come out, practice everywhere so your dog can do the behaviors everywhere. A lot of the times we just practicing in the home, and that's not gonna get our dog's manners to really stick if we're not consistent with just saying the same thing everywhere. So by saying the same thing, same commands everywhere you go, you'll start to be consistent, and then that will last as well. Tip number 3, reward consistently. I cannot stress this enough. So, this is where the fun really starts. Dogs love getting treats and praise. So, when you reward your pup for good behavior, they learn that being good boy or good girl pays off, and this keeps them motivated to listen and learn. And you might be thinking, oh, well, my dog doesn't like food or not motivated by treats. Use whatever's going to motivate your dog. It could be play, it could be toys, it doesn't have to be treat. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're rewarding your dogs. If you're saying, oh, I don't want my dog to gain weight or they might be eating too much, use their kibble. Even if you aren't going to use their kibble and, use treats to reward them, I always say this is for a short amount of time. When we're using treats to reward our dog, we're using them temporarily, because what are we doing here? We're teaching our dog expectations. And so you be good, you get rewards, and then over time we'll fade them out. But timing is everything. So make sure you reward your dog immediately after they do what you ask. For example, if you ask them to sit on command, give them a treat right away. This helps them connect the dots between the command and the reward. And so definitely, if you don't freak out, like if you don't have a reward right away, if you don't have a treat, you can simply, right, boo boo, go like this. That's too much, but you know what I mean. Make a big deal out of it. That's the equivalent to giving them a treat anyways, right? But essentially, just find what they love. Every dog's going to be different. Many go crazy for treats, but some dogs prefer belly rubs. You'll figure it out. You know your dog. I always say, just do a little audition, mix it up. You'll get it. Also, avoid overdoing it. I see this a lot with well-meaning dog parents. When your dogs become reliable with the command, you can definitely start to fade those treats out and use more praise, like I said. But at the end of the day, you want to make it fun. Always keep training sessions positive and fun. If your dog seems frustrated or bored, you can take a break. You want to come back to it later for your dog's learning. But you definitely don't want to overwhelm them. So, to go through the 3 tips that's gonna be essential to keeping you consistent in your dog's training, keeping you consistent in your dog's manners, and making sure that this manners and training lasts a lifetime. Be sure to establish a routine for your dog. Okay, that's going to be really important. Remember, they're going to learn. Tip number 2, stay consistent in everything you do. That's my favorite tip right there, because just staying consistent will help them learn as well. And tip number 3, rewards, rewards, rewards. Make sure that you're rewarding your dog for their good behavior. That's going to pay off. Putting all those 3 things into play will ensure that your dog's skills stay consistent. But I don't want you to take these 3 tips and kind of freak out about it. Just start with one if you're feeling overwhelmed. And the easiest one to start with is just starting to be consistent in your daily life. Do same routine for your dog, and then you can implement other parts of the tips. But other than that, I hope you gain some insight in how to stay consistent with your dog's training so that it lasts a lifetime. And I will see you next week with another great topic. Bye. Say bye, boo boo. Say bye, boo boo.